As mayor of Carson City and a Vietnam veteran, I am honored to present Always Lost, a meditation on war. This exhibit, conceived and created by the students and faculty of our very own Western Nevada College, is our community's gift to the nation. It is both stunning and thought-provoking. Stunning in the manner by which it brings home the sacrifices of those who we send in harm's way for our country. Thought-provoking in many ways personal to each of us. For me, there is a deep sense of sadness in seeing the faces of so many young men and women who will never be able to savor the fruits of their efforts to make this world a better and safer place to live. But I also gain strength from reflecting on their sacrifices. They are a reminder to me, and I would hope a reminder to all of us, that we have a duty to live a life of honor, dignity, and hard work, not just for ourselves and our families, but for our country as well. To strive to make this world a better place to live for all of us, even if in just little ways. To overcome pain and adversity. To appreciate the value of human life. To never forget.
They are the faces and names of U.S. war dead in America's longest wars. Over 6,500 servicemen and women who perished in Iraq and Afghanistan since September 11, 2001. The Wall of the Dead is the heart of Always Lost, a meditation on war, a nationally touring art exhibition that compels viewers to contemplate the cost of war, costs that can never be measured in dollars. Pulitzer Prize-winning Iraq War combat photographs on loan from the Dallas Morning News are accompanied by thoughts about the nature of war from witnesses ranging from ancient philosophers to modern generals. Poetry and prose by Northern Nevada writers tell stories of personal and collective sacrifice. Teresa Breeden writes from her heart as a mother.
Listen, these soldiers were all children once. Smooth faces, fat thighs, sleep so complete anxious mothers listened cribside. They stood in that first pair of shoes, released supports, leaned into the wind of unknowing, wobbled that first step toward war.
The inspiration for this powerful exhibition came from an observation by a professor at Western Nevada College.
After seeing in 2008 the 4,000 faces published in the New York Times as the roster of the dead, excuse me, I concluded that the Iraq War perhaps was the most impersonal war Americans had ever fought.
English professor Marilee Swerzik embraced Professor Carlson's idea. For an entire semester, her creative writing class would make Operations Iraqi and Enduring Freedom personal.
And our Vietnam veterans had the most interesting reaction, I think, because they saw this as an opportunity to do for the returning Iraq and Afghanistan military personnel what was not done for them, and that was simply to say, we know you're there, thank you.
For the students in Professor Swerzik's class, what began as an assignment became life-changing.
It's an incredible thing to be a part of. I think for all of us, this has been probably the most honoring and humbling experience. And we are collectively sort of stunned that it's gone to this level, but also filled with a sense of reverence that it's been able to touch people and affect people in such a powerful way.
I want to be the fire that incinerates nightmares into rubble, reduces them to powdery ash. Yet you tell me there's something to be said for remembering, that only the dead have seen the end of war.
Students selected individuals from the Wall of the Dead and wrote elegies in their honor. Josh Galarza felt a connection to Sergeant Andrew C. Perkins.
You have power in your death, Andrew. You're mythic, above judgment or reproach. You're a role model, a hero. You make me wish I'd accomplished something in my 27 years worth weeping over. You've got me, and you're not letting go. You're putting down roots in some corner of my mind, residing and remembered there for all the years the straw I drew gives me.
Student and retired Marine Major Kevin Burns chose the title of the exhibition from a quote by American writer Gertrude Stein.
The quote is from author Gertrude Stein. Now, Gertrude Stein was an avant-garde writer who lived in Paris. She was an American expatriate, lived in Paris for 40 years, 20s, 30s, and 40s. She wrote many things. She wrote on war, and this quote comes out of one of those writings, that war is never fatal, but always lost, always lost.
Major Burns spearheaded the creation of the Wall of the Dead with a purpose in mind.
When they die, they are all mixed together, because war is not some nice parade ground where everyone marches on in perfect formation and then just falls down. It's chaos, it's carnage.
As casualties continue to mount, the Wall of the Dead continues to grow. Profiles of Western Nevada College student veterans reflect the tens of thousands of men and women returning home from service in Iraq and Afghanistan. A meditation reminds us that in war, there are no unwounded soldiers. One of the most poignant parts of Always Lost is the story of Army Specialist Noah Pierce, who served 2 tours in Iraq, returned home to Minnesota, and took his own life. After his death, his mother found poems that Pierce had written about his combat experiences. It is estimated that every day, 22 U.S. veterans end their own lives. Iraq War veteran Caleb Cage sees Always Lost as a memorial that speaks to his generation.
It speaks to this generation visually, graphically, and it really, and from its very, very early stages, has spoken to the divide between the American public and the soldiers, service members who have fought in these most recent wars.
Since fall 2010, Always Lost has been traveling across our nation to communities as small as Alfred in upstate New York and as large as Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with its message of awareness and unity. Brandeis University resident scholar Dr. Marguerite Bavard considers Always Lost to be a vehicle for healing in her book, The Invisible Wounds of War, Coming Home from Iraq and Afghanistan. The Daughters of the American Revolution John C. Fremont chapter awarded Professor Swerzik their Medal of Honor for her stewardship of the exhibition. United States Senators Harry Reid and Dean Heller invited Always Lost to Washington, D.C., noting the critical link between free expression and our American heritage. In the end, the guest book tells the story of Always Lost, a meditation on war. Veterans from World War II, the Korean conflict, the Vietnam War, Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and Operations Iraqi and Enduring Freedom leave their messages in its pages. Mostly, civilians and veterans alike simply say thank you for what one viewer called a national treasure. For an idea to make America's wars personal. An idea that began at a small college in a small American town and evolved into a sacred space to consider the effects of war on each of us.